Hey Latchkey kids and driving mutants, I'm Lady Shasha, mistress of the snark. And for those of you complaining about Candyman being too woke or too on the nose, Karen said hold my beer. This movie starts out with a bang. The very first thing you see is a sidewalk chalk painting of Black Lives Matter, and then Karen taking a bucket of water and splashing it on the Black Lives Matter sign and then scrubbing it away. That lets you know right off the bat what type of movie you're getting into. Also right off the bat, lazy writing alert. Like, you have characters say, you know, my pet peeve of people saying, you know, you're my sis or my bro. They do that in this, but they take it to that Tyler Perry level where they have the character say things like, you know, we're young black professionals, because we can't tell by looking at you that you're young, that you're black, and by the big ass house you live in and the new cars you're driving, we can't ascertain that you're successful without you stopping the movie to say, you know, we're young, black, and successful. Speaking of Tyler Perry, at first I thought that this was going to be as bad as a Tyler Perry production like A Fall from Grace. But then I saw that the people in this actually had liquid in their glasses when they were at the restaurant. I still shouldn't be able to clearly see the lace knots on Karen's wig though. To the director of this movie, if you and Tyler Perry don't get one of these Instagram girls or boys to come lay some wigs for you, ordinarily I would be inclined to say that a lot of the things that Karen says and does are on the nose or outlandish, but I literally can look up hundreds of videos on TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you can post video. There's a video of a Karen saying and doing these things that Karen is doing in the movie. Maybe that's why it doesn't hit as hard, because it's basically what we see. Actually, maybe they didn't go far enough. I mean, we're living in a post-Victoria's Secret Karen world now, so maybe she didn't go far enough. That said, this movie is unintentionally hilarious, mostly because Taryn Mannon's portrayal of Karen is just so funny. The couple that moves into the neighborhood is written so very surface level. And as I said before, you know, this writing is really, really bad. So they say things like, you know, you're a successful blogger. Lest you be fooled, this is not a Spike Lee joint. It so much wants to be though. Even with the trumpet playing, oh my god, the trumpet playing. At one point there's a housewarming party that Karen shows up to, and she says Karen stuff and the guests go back and forth with her. And oh my gosh, the cymbals, why they keep playing these cymbals back and forth like this is, it's almost like this score wanted to mimic the score from School Days, and it missed the mark entirely. Speaking of this couple being written very surface level, later on in the movie they argue about finances, and I'm like, why did you buy this big ass house when you know it's just the two of you? Like, you could have got a condo, you could have got a townhouse, you didn't need this big palatial, you know, McMansion for just the two of you if you just complain about money later. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Also, why does your husband keep hanging out in front of the house? You have a house this size, I'm sure there's a backyard, there's a basement, there's a garage, but this dude keeps hanging out in the front of the house, which, I mean, maybe that seems like an automatic to me because I grew up in what I call the suburbs. I've been told that it's technically rural, but still, I didn't grow up in a city, and most of the time in these areas people really chill in their basement, in their backyard, in their garage. Actually, my brother-in-law's father used to have a setup in the garage where he had his weight set in his radio in his little area to, I don't know what he did in there besides hang out, maybe drink beer or something, but he had a little garage set up. Like, you have a 2-car garage. Why are you not in your garage just chilling? You don't need to be out on the street where Karen can see you and harass you. Not to say that you don't have a right to be on the street. I'm just saying, you already know she's crazy. Why would you keep allowing her to have access to you? Anyway, any hope of this movie being taken seriously is out the window with this one scene where Karen screams, "Garbage day is tomorrow," and she shoves the garbage can over and then runs back to her house. That was the funniest thing. I don't know why it was so funny to me, but I was almost in tears. Another question for this couple: why do you never close your blinds? You know she's got cameras pointing at your house. You constantly have your blinds open. Later in the movie, Karen goes viral for calling the police on some teenagers that are walking through the park. You know how some neighborhoods have like a little child's park like in the middle with like some swing sets and monkey bars and stuff like that. This neighborhood has one of those, and the teenagers were walking through it. Looked like they were just, one of them had a skateboard in his arm. They're going to their friend's house, and of course she freaks out and calls the police on them. And this was so funny because they cut between the cinematic view to the cell phone footage of Karen doing the Karen thing and calling the police on these kids. So when she goes viral, this causes her to lose her post as the president of the homeowners association. Side note, homeowners associations are a pain in the behind. I used to be a part of one, and before I get to it, let me just say there are people on homeowners association that are just there because they just want to make sure their neighborhood is maintained. They want to make sure that the opening to their neighborhood or the signage is painted, the wall around their neighborhood, because I live in Florida and a lot of the neighborhoods here are one entrance, one exit type of, it's almost like a gated community but without a gate. So there's a wall that goes around it, and everyone in the neighborhood wants to make sure that wall is maintained, or if there's any shrubbery or flowers, that those are maintained, and the sign that's the name of your neighborhood is maintained, that type of stuff. That's good for the homeowners association to take part in. That said, there are people in the homeowners association that just want the power to with other people. I remember I was on this homeowners association where one of the women on there wanted to write a bylaw that stated that no one could plant yellow flowers in their yard just because she didn't like her neighbor who happened to have yellow flowers. So because she didn't like her, she wanted to passive aggressively add a bylaw saying that you couldn't have yellow flowers. Like, that was just ridiculous. Like, can't you just not talk to each other? Anyways, back to the comedy of the year. I think this director meant this as a serious film, but the execution is hilarious. At one point, Karen pops up behind someone like Michael Myers, and it's a legitimate jump scare. Third question about this couple: why do they not have an Amazon Ring or ADT? Like, do you know how comforting it is to hear that motion detected at the front door? Like, why do you not have this? I read a headline that this director had the nerve to say that people had accused him of copying Get Out. That's like accusing Rainbow of copying Nordstrom. Like, no. It's not even on the same level. This movie has way more in common with Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace than it could ever have with Get Out, because both are unintentionally funny. Even the black characters in this are like caricatures of young black successful people. And I have a question for those watching, because maybe this is a regional thing. Who wears kente scarves just because? Where I'm from, people will wear them at graduations, weddings, something very, very formal, but not too much in just casual wear. But I'm not from Atlanta, so this might be a thing there. The party guests kind of came off fake bougie to me. I cannot put my finger on what it is about them, but again, this could be a regional thing. Far be it for me to judge. I have some bougie in my family. Connecticut bougie, summers on Martha's Vineyard bougie, riding lessons bougie, tennis club bougie. Now, I had a cousin that was on the golf team in high school. That type of bougie. Shout out to her though. Look at me acting like I'm not the bougie one. I was the tennis club riding lessons one, and she was the golf. It's about, I'm sure in your eyes it's pretty equal. Golf club is no more bougie than tennis club or tennis team. It's around the same level. Although I did do Western riding and not English, because I don't know why, I just felt like the whole knee-high boots and like the uniform for English riding was like too on the nose Connecticut, so I elected to do Western riding instead of the English style riding, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, I'm familiar with New England bougie, so maybe they seemed odd to me because that might be a more mid-Atlantic or southern bougie thing. So I mean, America is a huge country, and within America there's a lot of cultures and subcultures and geographic culture just within the country. Like, a Texan is totally different from a New Yorker, and that's just the way it is. But let me know in the comments if they seemed authentic to where you're from. The decorations in their home were on point. I know people, including my own parents, that have decorations like this, including the masks, the Afrocentric paintings, sculptures, that type of thing, that's a real thing that exists. So that was authentic to me, the way their home looked. Except maybe the swords. I don't know too many people that would have the swords right by the front door like that, but hey, everyone's different. One thing that was super disappointing to me is that this was advertised as more of like a thriller with some elements of horror. Even the title card has blood dripping down the word Karen. Other than at one time Karen popped up like a jump scare, there wasn't very many thrills in this. And there absolutely was no horror that we don't see in everyday life or on social media daily. But like I said, it did have a lot of unintentional laughs. I would have rewritten the ending. And here's my rewrite, because I'm not going to spoil what actually happened in the ending. You'll have to watch it for yourself. But this is how I would rewrite the ending. The scene when Imani and Karen fight, I would end that scene with Imani pulling Karen's wig off and revealing some beautiful, tightly coiled 4C hair. The reveal in that being that Karen was passing the whole time and had all this vitriol towards her neighbors because she was afraid of her secret being discovered, because you know, we know our own. We know. That would have been better than the ending that we got, which I'm not going to spoil for you, but I will say it was a bit anticlimactic in my opinion. But don't take my word for it. Watch it for yourself. Just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it, and just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Have you seen Karen? Did you laugh as hard as I laughed at Karen? Let me know in the comments. Until next time. Hey, did you know that I work for tips now? You could hit me up on Venmo or Cash App. While I'm happy to receive the type of coin that jingles, I'd love to receive the type that folds. Somebody show these people where the subscribe button is. They don't know what they're doing.